Alright, so this video is going to be a summary of what happened in session 58 because when I recorded the session I had to use my laptop and there were a lot of technical difficulties that made the video basically useless for uploading. So instead I went through the video that I had and I tried my best to use kind of the context clues to figure out what happened, and so I'm just going to summarize it now. So the party start off in Avernus trying to decide on what they will do for their next steps, and mainly focusing on how we're supposed to complete Nyla's task that she received from the Duke of Thunder without breaking the contract that Damien, Texas Red, and Nyla are all under. Mainly the attacking other devils unprovoked part of the contract. At one point, someone brought up the idea of provoking the devils into attacking us first by blocking their portal or whatever means that they have of going to the material plane, but nothing was completely set in stone. After that discussion was over, the party sort of made their way to the devil encampment where they uh, had to deliver the corpse collector, and they ended up completing that task. And while they were at the camp, the party spoke with Dragath, um, kind of getting an update on his progress of the anti-party investigation, and he ended up revealing that they were still attacking different points of the supply chain for the Blood War, um, and that he was in the midst of devising a plan to both kind of clear the party's name and, more importantly, save his reputation, um, but do that as well as stopping the anti-party from continuing their raids. But before he got into too much detail, he tasked the group with basically just going out and fighting on the front lines of the blood war for a few days, kind of to give him some more time to talk to the people that he needed to talk to, and also as a way to kind of brush the party off and get them to lay low for a little bit. Um, so that actually took up the majority of the session, and it actually included Volk, Damien, and Gial all going down at different points in the different fights that they were a part of. Uh, the last combat, which is the one that Gial actually did go down in, before that, Damien saw Gial turn invisible for a second, and when he reappeared, he seemed to have healed a bit, so there was a little bit of confusion there for a second, but the group ended up continuing the combat, and when their shift on the front lines was finally completed and they were able to relax for a bit, Damien kind of confronted Gial about this ability, and he kind of asked why he kept it a secret from the party. Um, but after a few minutes of questioning, he was only kind of getting half answers from Gial, um, and they were getting a little bit frustrated, so they just figured, we'll leave it for now, we'll come back to this conversation later, and they all went to rest for the night. The next morning, the party headed out to find the cave where the devils were set up that were going to make their way to the material plane. And on our way to the cave, we were trying to plan again on how to like ambush them and stay inside of the bounds of our contract at the same time. And after a while, the party came up with the idea to kind of set a trap for the devils, that Maximilian would make himself and Volk invisible, and then they would go into the cave, cast magic circle on the portal so that would prevent them from using it, and then Maximilian would use Dimension Door to teleport both of them outside of the cave back to where the party was as quickly as possible, sort of to try to make sure that nobody saw them. And so with that plan laid out, the party ended the session with preparing, and Damien gave his cloak of Elvenkind to Volk to kind of give him a little bit of a stealth boost to try to help them out, and they were all setting up near the mouth of the cave